I don't account my experience as the average man experience, right? Just because of my unique upbringing, right? So, you know, I think that the average man and the average woman, because the average man is not Blueface, right? The average man is not the portrayal of black men on TV or in the rap game and industry. And that's the programming that we get pushed as. Either the black man is gay, either the black man is a hyper masculine thug, right? Either the black man is misogynistic, either the black man is a capitalist tool, right? Or sellout. Like those are like the archetypes that's betrayed of the average black man, but that's not the reality that the average black man lives. Like, it's like what 20, they say 50% of marriages fail. The other 50% are successful. Those are black men with black women and families that they're taking care of on a daily, that they provide and protect for. And in America, in this increasingly agenda-based world, that, I would say this from an empathetic side, because everything you said is correct, that there's a lot of soy boys, a lot of soft-ass men, and I always like to go to the root. The root always allowed me to see from a vantage point of empathy, because we got a society to where the mental health of black men is terrible, right? And the statistics alone from every category in America is the highest, but I've never in my life seen a fund ever that was just for black men, right? I've never seen that ever. So the only people that care about black men are black men and women, right? But that comes from a code when black men when society was a masculine society that had brothers that was in that warrior archetype, stand up for what was right at all times. But we don't have that. So the nuances are a little difficult in 2023 because, like you say, you can only speak to a certain tribe of men who even want to stand on that type of business. And you got to train them men up at the same time to be ready, the same way you have to train women up. Because we grew up where a man had to learn how to treat a woman, and a woman had to be taught how to treat a man. A man has to learn how to protect a woman, right? And a woman has to learn how to respect a man. Like, these are not things that can just be given, right? That becomes a natural order. So yeah, she gonna fall into the presence of a man with some influence, some power, some position, some money, and things of that nature. But the average black man ain't making and don't have the influence, the power, and the standards that we have in society. So I don't impart my standing because I'm not the average black man. So the average black man is the majority, and so their reality is going to be different than ours when we talk about how we're dealt with. And I had to be trained to be who I am, and I know I have to train the same minds that's out there that we want to do better in order for them to be able to uphold that, right? And then the women have to be trained to be better as well, because I grew up where women were trained. They took classes. They learned how to be feminine. They learned how to respect their man and their husband and things of that nature. Like, these things weren't just organic. There was grandmothers that were elders that would teach these women how to be better women. There was
You're right.
grandfathers that would teach you how to be a man and go out there and fight for what was
That's
right. So when the
right.
family unit is broken down, then you see the effects of a generation become that, because this is like a few generations after the effects. It's not just this first generation just woke up and be like, man, we ain't shit to each other.
Yeah.
No, we are the children of the generations that were broken down before us, and now we're trying to pick up the pieces and move forward. And so this is where, like, going to the root of it, looks at it from a societal standpoint. Like, I can look at it from who's on left of me, who's on right of me, but when you look at it from a high level, now you like, wait a minute, how did we get here? Why do women act this way and why do men act this way? Why do males in this society and females in this society act this way? Then you got to implement what they call a remorphication, because we went through a demorphication where we lost our morals. And once you lose your morals, people don't want to hear the truth or don't believe it and won't stand up for it. And that comes from decades of programming, right? That comes from decades of bullshit constantly being thrown at us. And now it's even worse because of this whole gender war. So it's accountability that has to be on both sides. Because without that, you can have one person chasing to protect another person if they're not making it easy to be protected in that realm of, we all got to follow this code. We all got to be on the black family code, right? So that's like number one. Boom. It's like if I got a daughter And I tell her, listen, don't go out, don't be out too late at the fucking club. The club is dangerous, needs to be out there drinking, you don't know nobody, and especially don't go by yourself. And she ignored all of those rules. And something happens to her. Me as a father, first giving her that advice and giving her the gang was the first level of protection, right? Now I got to go out there and get vengeance for what happened to her because she said, I want to do whatever I want to do. And it's like, you can do whatever you want to, but that don't fall into the guidelines that allow you to be protected, because protection is something that happens before, not after, right? So for me, it's about like, what do we follow as a culture that protect us before the issues arise, so that we can both make sure that, you know, we have a standard towards putting ourselves in the best situations at all times. Because now it's like, you know, the standard of a man like yourself, the standard of a man like myself is to stand up in a situation that goes awry. But the culture constantly put themselves in fucked up situations. Men, a lot, and women. How many niggas put themselves in situations called they homeboys? Now they homeboys got to go do something. They both locked up or dead, right? So it's
You're
like,
right.
you know, most men don't have a standard for their own life. Most men out there risking their own life doing dumb shit all day long, putting themselves in situations that's unprotected and live a life where it's a death culture in the first place. They don't have a lifestyle where they try and protect themselves because they value their life and they want to live longevity and they care about the future. So it's like the streets is dead, and the streets been dead because it was for the dead, the blind,
It
deaf,
ain't
and
a
dumb.
lifestyle, it's a death style.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And unfortunately, to combat the culture like Keys, even the culture I came from, right? Like it took me so much to get acclimated to being on the internet, just with the values. Like most of the dudes, my OGs and the dudes that come from the cloth I cut from in this, especially in New York City, the internet was taboo. It was like, I'm not getting on no internet. Let them niggas have it. And I started explaining to them. I'm like, we're losing these kids to the streets. We lose it to the cowards, because this is where they have planted themselves here, and they reaching millions of minds a day. Every day they're making these kids believe that their way is the way, because there's nothing to combat that shit. There's nothing to combat the cowards up here. These dudes could do the most coward shit, say the most coward, do the most shit, the worst shit ever. And because they have a platform and they say that they got money, people be like, yo, they'll look at you like you crazy. Well, you don't got what he got. He's the big guy, so you lose. And if we allow them to keep doing it, then it's gonna stay there. If there's no reckoning, if there's no nah, you can't do that here, right? If we don't take over the platforms that are spreading and teaching our kids and teaching them what their moral compass is, because they're learning their moral compass from the internet. They're not learning it off the blocks no more. They're literally learning
The internet
their
is the
moral compass.
new streets for
Yeah.
sure.
So if
IT
we not
OG.
if a man exactly. So if men are real men of substance are on these platforms dispelling myths and saying, yo, that shit is corny, bro. Like, it's no way. Like, men that they know that actually when they see them and they can say, oh shit, in real life, that man is the same man. I don't even really see it. I've never seen these niggas before in my life. But in real life, these men actually exist, right? So what happens is we got a benefit, because most of these dudes that's on the internet that's teaching our kids don't even come outside. They can't come outside, right? So when we spreading these messages and showing them what manhood looks like and creating the culture on the internet, and then in real life when we come outside and we living our lives the same way, and we building up our communities, and we teaching these young boys, and they physically get to see it, it's gonna hit different. And that's why my mind state is the way it is, because I understand that's what it's gonna take. It's gonna take a double front. Like, it's easy. Like, I tell people all the time, it's a lot of these dudes on the internet, they don't have, in real life, they not really nobody. You just don't know that until you actually come in real life. Like, before the internet, I was somebody. Not to brag or anything, but I was really somebody before there even was the internet. I was doing what I was supposed to do in every realm. From any situation I was in, no matter it was the worst or the best situation, I always brought value to. I went to prison and changed niggas' mind states in prison. I had grown men 40 and 50 at 20-some years old following me because I was telling them we're not staying here. This shit is just somewhere we at. We don't live here. Like, we going home to do bigger things. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been that individual. I never adapted to my surroundings. I made my surroundings adapt to me. You know, and that's the only thing. That's what it's going to take for us to take back this culture from the cowards, man. And we got to be stand on it. Just like, because I tell people all the time, the suckers support the suckers, man. They together at every given moment. They're going to support each other. They're going to show up. They're going to promote it. For some reason, it's hard for real dudes to support each other. Like, it's only one or two people that can be real. I can't really support this because then I don't live like that. Because I understand it's going to take an army. It's going to take a bunch of strong men, ideologies. But as long as we got the same goal that we trying to raise and we want better for our people, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean, shit. It's just about demonstration. I feel like now it's just about demonstration and creating a new culture, man. If you were a multi-billionaire with the ability to, send out resources in a way where you wanted to program the culture, how would you go about changing things, right? You want it. The change starts, about who influences the streets, what influences the streets. The same thing, like if you want the community to be safer, you don't send in more police, right? You try to increase the quality of living for those people over there, right, to change their reality. So it's like you start to go a little deeper into the root of the issues, and then you see the trickle effect. We living in a society to where, it's the effect of, the lost father generation, right? Like, when the codes were started, when men had fathers, it's different than those young boys following that code that didn't have fathers. So it's like the world lacks fathers today. It's the lack of men, and it's the lack of celebration of fatherhood and the example of fatherhood that is one of the bigger issues in the world, because we got an over-mothered society. And that makes people feel like people always try to protect their children, but the goal is to prepare your children. Right? A father is one who prepares the child for the world. A mother's go try to protect that child from the world. Right? Those are two completely different things. And so an over-mother society makes the young boys soft and feeling like they can't handle themselves in the world, so it's no rites of passage. So they indulge in a fantasy versus real work, versus really go out there and feel like they can stand up for themselves and deal with whatever trials and tribulations hit. That's where you get that courage. That's where you will act in the face of fear. Where's the rites of passage in society? There ain't none, right? Like, young boys don't go through no rites of passage. Young girls don't. You just say you a man because you reached a certain age and you had a legal limit to go to the club. That don't make no sense, right?
I got a shameless plug, Keith. I just wrote a book,
Yeah.
a children's book.
Okay, talk to me then.
It's called Raising Kings, and it's 10 Principles of Manhood. So it's a book that talks about the rites of passage. And it's a dope book, so go out and get it on Amazon. I'm gonna send you one, but it's a dope book,
Yeah,
really
please do it, man. Any literature and any education, any programs about, when we raising children to do the right thing, that's what it's all about. I seen somebody say you can't, discount the single mother. I don't want a single mother culture. It ain't discounting them. It's just not the right thing for the babies. It's not the right boys. Not the right thing for the mother. Why would you want a mother to have to suffer financially, mentally, and spiritually trying to raise a child on her own? And why would you want that situation? You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't make no sense. So at the end of the day, you got to think about what's the best thing for the child. The best thing is that coming in a healthy reality with both of their parents, in partnership, helping raise them so that they can have a fully developed mind to be able to deal with the world that is. And that becomes the new cycle.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna take.
So it's facts over feelings. But yeah, man, I like the message because I think that, men need that pressure. I want to create these damn training camps to where, people can come through and get them rites of passage. And as long as, we keep pushing, this new culture instead of, the coward culture. And, I think that the same shit go continue. You got to address it on multiple sides, multiple fronts. But, yeah, people should be triggered about, how they feel about standing up and protecting each other, right? Like, nobody is responsible for your triggers, but you. That means there's something within you that you ain't dealt with, right? So it's
That's a
like,
fact.
I don't mind somebody coming on you. I don't need no trigger warning shit. Say it all day long. Until I'm comfortable and standing on whatever I stand on, then I need to be triggered to remind me of where I need to work on. That's
That's it.
that to me,
That's it.
and that goes for everybody. Let's trigger this shit out the culture until we
That's
get this
right.
shit right.
Shock value.
Shit.
You need to be shocked back into the natural order. Then that's what we're gonna do.
Man, that's a super fact, man. So it's gonna take a whole lot of goddamn shock therapy with these niggas, man.
Listen, I'm built for it. I ain't got shit else to do, man. I don't got nothing else to do, man. Nothing
Hey, it was
else.
a blessing talking to you, man.
All right, King. Love you. Be
Yes,
safe, man.
sir. Peace to the God.